hantavirus, by the way. You know, it's interesting because I just found out that hunter, is a Hebrew slang, a word that means nonsense, a scam, lies, or a load of bull, a load of BS. Can you imagine? Literally, this hunter word in Hebrew, it's a slang word that means scam and lies. Maybe that's why it's called hantavirus, because it's a scam. Anyway, guys, so the latest is like this. Well, if you don't know, there's a cruise ship outbreak that has triggered global concerns. So you want to say there's about 7 confirmed hantavirus cases. I don't know whether it's reason. 3 deaths linked to the MV Honduras. But WHO say there is no sign of a larger outbreak for now. For now, guys. So you got to relax. Yeah, and the UN Health Chief, Dr. Tedros Adhanom, he warned that the situation is still being watched closely. At least, I quote, at the moment, there is no sign that we are seeing the start of a larger outbreak. But of course, the situation could change. All right, so I'm going to tell you something crazy that I also found out. So if you check how, there was some footage that was out there trending in several platforms, I guess, social media platforms. Some guy from this MV Honduras. So he was crying, he was looking so distraught. He was a white guy. His face was so red and he looked like he was so scared. Talking about how, they're human. He's praying that the world comes to rescue them. You know what I mean? Yeah, he feels like people, he doesn't want the world to abandon them. So he was crying heavily. So the internet police, you guys did their research, their background check on this guy. He's a medical journalist. Yeah. And you know what the guy did? He's literally the same chap who also started encouraging folks. He was one of the first guys to break out this story, to talk about this story for COVID-19, telling guys how you need to get out there. We're in a sense of urgency. Make sure you get your vaccines. So guys are saying, the coincidence over here. What's happening? Are they using, is Big Brother using this guy to constantly break the news and cause a sense of fear amongst folks out there? That's the first thing that the internet police did, yeah? So they found some sort of, they found a connection. How is it that the same guy in the ship is one of the first guys who actually broke out the news on coronavirus and how guys should treat it as an emergency? And then, guys, the playbook looks so similar, manze. If you check it, the videos of how they were transporting the bodies of the guys who died in the cruise ship, it's so similar to how COVID, the COVID situation was being aired out there, bana. You remember, yeah, in China, how they were showing all those folks in like white gowns and they've covered their faces, and then there's like dead bodies on the ground, all covered up, It just seems so similar, bro. Yeah. Yeah, so for me, listen, I'm already traumatized with whatever went down in 2020. Yeah, because I feel like this thing could have literally been handled differently. And then another thing that, first wait. Literally, like 2 months ago, I was talking to JP. JP was my co-host on this show, yeah, on After Hours on Spice. And he told me, Kevin, I promise you, yeah, there's going to be another pandemic this year. And I was like, snap, you guys, JP, come on, it can be. Yeah, he's telling me all these stories. You know how JP is with all these theories, yeah? But I disputed all his facts, yeah? Because I wasn't ready for this conversation because COVID-19 was so traumatizing. Until today, the people who were feeling the effects of COVID-19, some guys have never recovered. Jobs were lost. Folks lost their family members, yeah, and then don't even get me started about that vaccine banner. Till today, yeah, we know there are people who are suffering from the effects of that vaccine. Am I right or am I right? You get, yeah, and then now we have this hantavirus, manenos. The playbook is so similar. Yeah, this is exactly how this whole COVID-19 manenos actually started, manze. You know what I mean? So I don't know who's calling these shots out here in the world, and it's like, listen. Yeah. I genuinely feel like ever since COVID-19 happened, yeah, nothing has ever been the same. Nothing. Yeah. So who's trying to control the world? okay, allow me to look at it like this. Yeah, so just the other day, the world, especially the youth of this world was so agitated and mad about this whole Middle East war. Yeah, guys were saying, listen, it's unnecessary. Why are we attacking, especially Americans? Yeah, why are we attacking, Iran? Yeah, why are we doing this to these guys? Why does it have to make sense? Why are we getting into an unnecessary war? For what? Yeah, we already have a lot of problems going down around the world, and then Netanyahu and Trump are doing their own thing. Kidogo, beep, hantavirus. Look at the timing. You look at the timing, Manzi. Tell me I'm talking out of my butt. Yeah? It's crazy. It's literally crazy. Is it possible that there's some people who are actually making these things happen behind closed doors? Yeah? And there are certain people out here that just determine the fate of the world. Yeah, I remember my friend, you guy lost his folks, his old folks. I even lost one of my aunties, bro. And I think it's because of this whole COVID manenos, man. Yeah? Yeah. So it's crazy. You guys, this story just traumatizes me. Yeah? First, they're going to try and test the waters. Yeah, see how the health systems around the world actually react to these manenos. Yeah? And then, because the thing is, I'm allowed to speculate in this show. Yeah, don't even get me don't even get me started, yeah? And then they release this thing out there, see a few folks dying in the Nini, yeah? And then they cook up a whole story out there talking about, yeah, you see now, yeah, the people who were in denial, now we need to go about this whole curfew manenos, and we've got a vaccine going on. It's very necessary that you get this vaccine, ama you're going to die. Aye, yawa. Yeah, so could it be that they're testing the waters with this hantavirus manenos? Well, what's really happening to our world, man? Yeah? Because the timing is what's so crazy. Literally, first it was the Epstein files. And then, Iran. And then guys are getting pissed off about Iran and whatever's happening in between Russia and Ukraine. And then now, hantavirus. Please. Please. We're not ready for this stuff, man. It's just so mind-boggling. Being a human these days is tiresome, bro. It's like it's a bit too much, yeah? What are your thoughts about this hantavirus manenos? Let me give you some facts in brief, yeah? So the ship is the MV Hondius. It was a Dutch flagged. It was a Dutch flagged cruise vessel, and then the route it was coming off from Oshai in Argentina, heading to Europe. It was headed to Spain and the Netherlands. And then on board, they had about 147 passengers from 23 countries. Confirmed cases, 7 hantavirus infections. And then, like I said, deaths, we're talking about 3 passengers. An elderly Dutchman, he was the first suspected case. He died on the 11th of April. And then his wife also died in South Africa after evacuation. Can you imagine that? And then there's also another German woman who died on the 2nd of May on board. Yeah, so... as of now, we're talking 122 passengers were already repatriated to the countries. 27 are still on board. 12 hospital staff in the Netherlands have been quarantined after possible exposure. I used to be so excited about this whole thing for a cruise ship. You're never going to see me on a cruise ship, bro. Jeez. Okay. Clearly, it's a very unhealthy place to be in, yeah? So jam-packed. Kumbe now there's rats over there. You're never gonna... I don't care, bro, even if you're paying for me to do that or whatever. I don't care about that holiday. I don't care whether we're going to cruise for like a month. It doesn't matter. You will never see me on a cruise vessel. Ever, bro. You know what I mean, yeah? Oh, and then another fact you need to know is that hantavirus is actually spread by rodents, but human transmission is possible. Some of the symptoms you need to look out for: fever, fatigue, vomiting, and breathing difficulty. WHO are currently saying a risk of a major outbreak is low, but the monitoring continuous due to incubation period. Now, something over here I was going to read for you real quick. All right, so there you go. How to prevent the spread of hantavirus according to the World Health Organization. You have to keep living and workspaces clean. Yeah, and then you have to seal openings where rodents can enter. and then store food securely, and then using safe cleaning methods if rodent droppings are present. So you got to be safe. Use those gloves and and then dampen contaminated areas before cleaning and avoid dry sweeping or vacuuming rodent droppings. You get. Yeah, so what else do you need to know? I think that's pretty much it, how you can actually avoid, getting the infection. But according to our health, the Ministry of Health, the virus is still not in the country. All right, so it's 3 minutes after 9. We're keeping it moving. I'm coming back with the gray zone for you. Also, the big wire is going down. Right now, Broken Wings, Mr. Tunikazi.
SpiceFM. Nieri.